It's jazz music. Should we wait for a few more people to log on?
So far you have 10 on here.
Okay, we'll wait a few more minutes. There were so many emails from last week that I really had to kind of pick through them to see what I felt as though our industry is lacking. So those are the topics that I chose. I did respond back to like 3 people who had emailed that had like personal questions. So I did email back to them personally. But everything else, I kind of just summed it up and went based off of what I felt as though, like I said, our industry is lacking. So we're going to give everyone just one more minute and then we'll go ahead and start. This jazz music was kind of boring me too.
Someone said, love the desk.
Oh, thank you.
Someone says, what are we waiting for? LOL.
People. I'm trying to be fair. I know a few people that's just getting off work at 7. So I'm giving them like 5 minutes to get in their car. I'm sorry. So we'll go ahead and start. The first question that I'm going to respond to, I actually had about 6 people ask me, do I have a late policy and do I accept people if they're late? I do give a 15-minute grace period. With the 15-minute grace period, that does not mean they can still come 15 minutes late and just get service their full time. So if they book an hour appointment and they are 15 minutes late, then I can only service them for 45 minutes. So they actually lose 15 minutes. If they scheduled a 30-minute appointment with me and they're 15 minutes late, they actually lose 15 minutes of that 30 minutes. And yes, they do still have to pay the full time that they actually booked for. I started doing that probably about 6 months ago because we all know no matter what type of service you provide, no matter what industry you're in, we all know that sometimes people take our time for weakness. So they'll come late or they'll sit in their car and talk on their phones, or they will pretty much, make up an excuse of why they were late, not thinking about what we have to do after they leave or if another client is coming. I used to go to different salons a lot to see what other salons were doing that I wasn't doing and what they were offering that I weren't offering. And I would actually go and get service. Like I would go, it's like a nail salon or another eyelash salon or a brow bar, and just see how long the actual person would have me sitting there waiting. And one time I literally sat for about a good 50 minutes before I got service, and I thought it was ridiculous. I was actually pretty pissed off. But then it made me aware of how my clients felt when they're sitting waiting for me because some of my other clients are late. So that's when I started putting, effort of I'm going to treat my clients as I would want to be treated if I went to their place of business. So with that being said, I do think that everyone should have a late policy. When we schedule dentists and doctors appointments, they have late policies as well. You cannot just come to your appointment whenever you feel like it. And also, if your clients think that they can just come whenever they want or come late or sit in the parking lot and talk on the phone, they're going to continue to doing it, which means that they are not respecting your business. I'm really big on people respecting my business and taking me seriously. So in order for them to respect me and respect my business, I definitely had to put my foot down. Even with my trainings, I'm starting to get to the point where if you're 30 minutes late, I'm sorry, I cannot hold everyone else up for 30 minutes. I don't be late, so I don't expect you to be late. In my trainings, I will give everyone about 10 minutes, and then after that, I go ahead and I start with the training. I know things do come up, and I'm a very, very fair person as far as, during break time or after day one of training, if I feel as though you missed something very important, then we will actually go back over what you missed. And that's just something that I choose to do. But no, I'm not going to hold my whole entire class waiting for someone that's late. Which brings me into the main topic that I kind of want to discuss today, and that is knowing your worth. People, we have to know our worth. That is the number one thing in business. If you do not know your worth, your business is never going to get to where you think it's going to be. And when I say knowing your worth, that's all around the board when it comes to business. Not just knowing your worth on what you're charging, but knowing your worth on what type of atmosphere, knowing your worth on how people, view you. I had someone reach out to me the other day and ask me a question, and the only answer I could give to her was, are you serious? Like, is that what you're worth? People have to understand that. Let's talk about services first, so we're not, all over the place. When it comes to services that we are providing, and again, this can relate to anyone, no matter what type of service you're providing. You could own a daycare center. You could have a lash salon. You could have a brow salon. You could have a boutique. You could have a hair salon. You could have a nail salon. You could be a mechanic. You can be, you can own a grocery store. You can own a law firm. You can own whatever it is that you own or that you're entitled to as far as working. You have to know your worth. I have so many people that email me, text me, DM me, call me about my prices. And what they do is they try to compare it to someone else. My answer to them, and I mean no disrespect, if that's the case, why aren't you there? Like, why are you here? Obviously, there's something else that drew you to me more so than going to them. I don't play when it comes to that. As far as, well, your microblading trainings are $2,000 and it's just for 2 days, but such and such training is 5 days and it's $6,000. So are you basically telling me that you want me to train you for 6 days for $2,000, or you want my prices to go up? Like, which one? Because if you thought that the other person that was giving you a 6-day course for 5 or 6 days, you would have enrolled in their class. You would be contacting them and not me. As far as like brow services and lash services, yes, I can look on social media or ride down the street and see someone having something posted in their window with $65 lash extensions. Sweetheart, not me. I've never charged $65, not even when I first started off. First of all, what we have to realize is what we did to get to where we're at. Did you go through a real training? Did you learn on YouTube? Did your friend teach you? Did you just think that you can teach yourself and just because you do something similar to it, you thought that you could gravitate to this service? Any of us that have actually took training courses, and I'm a training junkie, I spend really good money on my trainings. I'm training all the time, thousands and thousands of dollars. So I am not going to discredit myself, nor am I going to lowball my service. Not only did I take a training course on it or several training courses on it, but I also make sure that I practice. I also make sure that I am my biggest critic. I make sure that if there's something that I feel as though is not right, then that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm not giving lousy ass jobs, and I'm not, giving away lousy ass trainings. So I charge my worth. And I go up every 6 months to a year, no matter what I do, because I feel as though within that time frame, I am bettering myself. And I know a lot of you are like, I have to look around and see what everybody else is charging. And there's a lady down the street that charges $50, and then there's the nail salon that charges $75, and then there's another person that charges $100, so I need to charge $85. What if you are actually better than the lady down the street and the nail salon and the other lady that charges $100? Are you telling me just because of the competition that you're faced with that you are now going to devalue your service? That's crazy. I've never had an issue with that. I would never, ever do that. And I tell my students all the time, even in training, I give them a peek on where I feel as though they should start at because of the information that I know I've given to them and the training that I've put my all into, that I feel like I know that they're gonna be great. So because of that, I feel as though you should never go under this amount. Not everyone listens to me, but the ones that do, they're not having an issue at all. You cannot be afraid to charge your worth. That's the main thing that I go by. And if you feel as though that someone is charging a little more than you, then you need to find out why they're charging a little more than you. Maybe it's something that you are not doing. Maybe there's something that you need to bring into your business or incorporate into your business. Maybe you need to change the environment inside your salon. Maybe you need to be on time. Maybe you need to make sure that your clients are respecting you and the service that you are providing to them. Also, how long have you been providing the service? If you just got trained, no, I do not expect you to go charge an arm and a leg or be the highest, provider in your area. But I feel as though that you need to start off at a very comfortable mark, depending on how much you spent on training. Did you have to travel? How good are you? And if you feel as though that you are not good enough, then you don't need to be providing the service. You need to slow down, pause for a second, because not everyone picks up and is great as soon as they get a training course. I had to practice a lot. Scalp micropigmentation, I actually got trained for that a while ago. I did not start actually providing the service until, maybe 8 months ago. And literally, I did probably about 20 freebies until I felt as though I was comfortable enough to say, you know what? I'm going to charge anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 for this service. Am I getting any issues with people coming to me paying? Absolutely not. Because I know my worth and I know what I should be charging. I know what I put into it. Another thing is, and I get this a lot, and if any of my students are listening or watching, this goes to you guys too, because I preach this in our trainings. You cannot expect to jump on the wagon of what's popping now in the industry and spend a little money taking a training and then think just because you took a training that you're supposed to just run off and be this great successful person. It does not work like that. Everyone knows any successful person, it took time to get there. They had to practice no matter what they did. Basketball players, they're in the gym every single day. Football players, they're on the field every single day. Cheerleaders are in the gym every single day. Hairstylists are practicing on mannequin heads every single day. Mechanics are constantly researching things and looking up new parts. No matter what you do, nail techs, you should be practicing every day. Those of you who are new to microblading, order you some new mats. If you are not comfortable and confident with your work, no, you do not need to go practice on another person. You need to perfect your craft. And without perfecting your craft, your worth will stay here instead of reaching its peak. So you definitely have to practice. You cannot think that you can just sit around and, I serviced one client this week, I'll get better. No, you're going to continue to be slow, and no one is going to want to pay you for a 3-4 hour job that should have taken anywhere from an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. They're going to get to the point to where they're like, why am I coming here? Why am I laying on this table for 4 hours when I can go somewhere else and pay the same amount of money and be done and get great service in an hour and a half? So it's a lot that, we as stylists and as business owners have to work on before we can jump up there and say, oh, I'm charging $250 for lash extensions when you don't even need to be actually servicing anyone. And I'm not being mean, I'm just being real. The next point that I want to make is, how much did you put into your business? If you are at home and you don't have any more overhead, then yes, you can certainly, work with your pricing. But if you were in a storefront or a suite or a building or renting space from someone, and you have a light bill and a water bill and a telephone bill and a cable bill and internet, you need to definitely make up for those bills. You have to, or you're going to fail. So in order to go out and charge hundreds of dollars for these services, you have to make sure that you are in that type of environment, that you are reaching out to those type of clients. You also want to make sure that, guys, I'm not trying to be funny, but you certainly cannot learn from YouTube. I have so many people that come back to me that taught themselves through YouTube, and now they're needing a refresh course. You taught yourself on YouTube 3 months ago. 3 months you've been trying to get something that you still don't have. Now you're going to pay me or another company to actually train you, and you should have done that in the beginning. Those 3 months you could have been perfecting your craft, and hell, now you could be really, really killing it. But because you wanted to learn from YouTube and go the cheap route, you're now way back, further than what you should be right now. And I don't knock anyone that goes to YouTube and look for ideas, or want to look at someone else's work, or want to see how someone is doing a certain type of method or technique. It's nothing wrong with that, but you have to know the craft first. So you can better understand and see how they actually got there and why they're actually doing certain things the way they're doing them. You want to make sure that, let me say this too, patience is the key. You have to have patience. Without patience, you're not going to get to where you want to be at all. Things come with time. Greatness comes with time. People do not have overnight success stories. And if they do, they're probably not even telling the truth. Overnight success stories, I don't believe in. I don't believe in those people that say, Okay, I started my company with $100 and in a month I was a millionaire. Or I did X, Y, and Z and in a month I was doing this. I technically do not believe it. I've been a business owner since I was 19 years old. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never, since the age of 19, had to work for anyone, and I'm very proud to say that. And obviously, I am doing something right, and I'm definitely being patient, and I know that my time is coming. You don't want to rush your greatness. Your greatness will come with time. Also, next subject. Those of you who are emailing me and DMing me about the situation you're in as far as working for someone else or working in an environment that you actually hate, or say you're in corporate world and you want to quit and be an entrepreneur. I'm all for everyone and anyone being an entrepreneur. I feel like anyone can be an entrepreneur. You cannot expect to ever get to the point where you have to let the fear go, is what I'm trying to say. You have to stop being scared. No, I do not recommend that you just quit your job and you know absolutely, you don't know what you're doing the next day. No, it starts with a plan. I tell people, give yourself a 6-month to a 1-year plan. You do not quit and don't have a plan B. And you cannot depend on anyone else. You are your plan B. Not your boyfriend, not your husband, not the bank, not your friend, not your parents. Because at any given time, they can all tell you no. You are your only plan B. You want to make sure that if you are working for someone and you do not like the environment that you are working in, and you're complaining every day like, oh, I hate coming to this job, or I don't like the way my boss talks to me. I don't like the way that how unprofessional my boss is. All of that goes upon you as well. You are a part of what you are not liking. If you're in a situation where you cannot change any of those things, then I suggest you get out of it. That person that you're working for is not the only job that is hiring for the service that you can actually provide. A friend of mine, and don't kill me if you're watching, and I'm not going to say her name or where she works or anything, but I have a friend of mine that when I say hates her job, like every morning we talk, she hates going there. She hates what she's doing. She wants to be an entrepreneur so bad. And I tell her all the time, she is a great person. She has amazing ideas. All you have to do with these ideas is put them to work. Give yourself a plan. Say, okay, this week I'm going to register with the state and I'm going to get my tax ID number. Next week I'm going to research several companies that actually provide the same service that I do. The next week I'm going to, or maybe you take a week off and the following week after that, I'm going to write out my business plan. By the next month, you have to set goals up until you get to the point where you say, if I'm doing a 6-month goal to where I'm going to become an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that you are hard on yourself and you stick to those goals. And within the 6 months, you should be able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish if you've mapped everything out the correct way. And those of you who are working somewhere and actually really hate what the type of, let me give you an example. You went to school for business, but you are working at Chick-fil-A. You hate Chick-fil-A because you went to school for business. Something in that background is your passion. You are not doing what your passion is. You don't like giving people food. You don't like greeting people at the window. You don't like cleaning up the restroom. You don't like sweeping and mopping the floors. Sweetheart, you have to change. It's nobody's fault but yours. If you don't like doing what you're doing, you need to change your setting. You need to rethink your life over. You need to rethink your plan over and figure out where you went wrong. How did you go to school to do this and you jumped right out of school and now you're doing this? And figure out how you can gravitate to get back to what it is that you actually want to do. A few years ago, I opened up a shoe boutique, and I said, because I was doing childcare first, I owned a few daycare centers. So I said, I'm tired of daycare. I want to do something where I'm more, networking and being myself. And I opened up a shoe boutique, and it was too slow for me. It just wasn't for me. Not that I actually hated it, but it wasn't fun for me. It was too slow. It was Friday and Saturday, it's really booming, and then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm bored as I don't know what. I knew right then and there that why am I going to waste any more time doing this, knowing that this is not what I want to do. Yes, I lost out on a lot of money. I lost out on $50,000. But if you ask any rich person, if you ask any successful person, in order for you to be successful, you have to fail. I failed, oh my God, so many times. And I know I'm still going to fail a few more times, but that's not going to stop me. What it's actually going to do is make me be greater. At least I know now in life, that's a mistake that I will never make again. As far as, coming up with your plan on how to become an entrepreneur, or how to get your storefront, or how to gravitate from being behind the chair, standing on your feet, to doing something else what you're really, really enjoying, you have to come up with a plan and execute it. Execute, execute, execute. There's no point in coming up with a plan if you're just gonna spend, a few months coming up with this plan and nothing's being done. It's just sitting in your office, or sitting in your room, or in your journal. It is pointless at that point. You definitely need to execute your ideas and make sure that you are actually every day getting closer to your dream, getting closer to your goals. Let me see. Has any questions came up, Deja?
No, people just saying that you're speaking on good topics.
Okay,
and
perfect. Any questions, Jazz? So far?
Someone says, how are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to really slow down a little bit. I'm trying to hire a bigger staff and kind of delegate a little bit more. I have a really, really, really hard time with delegating. And for those of you who do not know what that means, I am like a one army woman. I feel as though that I can do everything on my own. And what it does is it actually hinders me and hinders my business. So I'm getting to the point where I know that I have to delegate more, and I have to give other people some responsibility so that I can concentrate on the bigger picture. So other than that, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Also, I want you guys to know that consistency is the key. You cannot, in business, do great for the first month, and then the second month you're not doing any of the things that you were doing in the first month. If you are a lash or brow artist and you started off giving your clients goodie bags and following up with them, that's something that drawed them to you. That's why they are still your client. You have to make sure that you are actually continuing to do that years down the line. That's what makes you you. You cannot give goodie bags the first month, and then the second month they're gonna be looking like, where's my goodie bag? Where's my mascara wands? Where's my peppermints? Where's my microfiber brushes? Whatever it is that you're giving them in their goodie bags, they're gonna know that You just did that to get them in the beginning. And then after you felt as though you got them, you lacked off. You have to be consistent in any business. You have to make sure that you are keeping people engaged in you. And that will, definitely make them come back to you and refer people to you. I want you guys to also know before we wrap things up that I took a few notes. I'm actually writing a book and I do a lot of research. So I have like a few key pointers that I want you guys to kind of write down. If any of you are next to a pen or pencil, please write some of these down. The first thing is, you have to love what you do. We all are given choices, everybody. The path that you are in right now is the choice that you made. You cannot blame anyone else for the situation that you are in. Whatever situation you're in, you are in it because of you. The decisions that you made, the people that you hung around, the people that you listened to, whether or not you invested back into your business, if you rather go to the club every day versus researching and making yourself better. All of this, the choices that you made are something that you're going to have to deal with. That's the number one thing that I live and die by, like, all the time. I also have this little, I think this is pretty cute. Another one of my live by, die by scenarios. Mental is a feeling. It's a feeling that we all experience. It's not, and it is tough. Our mind kind of persuades us to do things at times that we don't actually want to do, or a lot of times we don't go with our first mind. So it makes us do something totally different, and then we end up regretting it. I have 5 keys that I deal with when it comes to my mental, which basically is me every day. The first thing is to decide. The second thing is to commit. The third thing is to act. The fourth thing is to succeed. And the fifth thing is to repeat it. So you have decide, commit, act upon it, succeed, and repeat it. That really helps me in life, with my private life and with my business as well. It's very helpful. No one was great at the beginning of their journey. No one. It always takes time for us to be successful. And one thing that I want to share with you guys that is my downfall to my company is, like I said earlier, I'm not a person that likes to delegate. I feel like I'm a one army person, and I've always been like that growing up. I felt like I can take on any task and I can achieve it, and that's what motivated me, all my life. It was like, whatever's thrown at me, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to be successful. I'm going to figure out how to come out of this situation. I'm going to figure out how to make this situation great. I'm going to figure out how to make my business great, and I'm going to do it alone. I get to the point where I feel like if my business lacks something, I would rather it be my fault than someone else. I worked so hard to get to where I'm at. You wouldn't even understand what I've been through and what I have had to sacrifice in life to get to where I'm at. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be. From a scale 1 to 10, personally, I feel like I'm like at a 3 right now. I'm nowhere near my 10. I have a lot of work to do to get to that 10, but it takes a team. I cannot do it on my own. I cannot figure out who ordered. I have to get the orders prepared. I have to make sure the order's going out. Who's emailing me regarding training? Who booked for services? Who is needing a kit? My students need help. The bills have to be paid. What's going on? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to handle. So you have to make sure that you build a foundation, and that foundation needs to be your team. You need a team to be successful. Every great person has a team, I promise you. And I'm gonna just one more fact of mine that I feel like I need to basically let you guys know. This is something else that I always tell any of the students that I'm mentoring, or any person that I have ever mentored in the past. There are birds that just cannot be caged because their wings are entirely too big. If they were to flap out their wings, they wouldn't be able to, because the cage that they're in is boxing them in. You have to know that if you have an idea, or you know that you should be doing something else, or what you are doing is not your passion, you have to be confident in yourself and trust yourself and get out of that cage and open up your wings. You have to soar. That is it for today. You all know that you can rewatch this on YouTube if you would like. My YouTube channel is Love Lash Inc. I will be downloading this to the YouTube channel as well this evening, and you can definitely email any of your questions to Love Notes, and that email is actually lovenotes@gmail.com. Any questions you guys have or topics that you want me to discuss next week, please email me. I'm not going to be able to help you if you guys do not reach out to me. Thank you for tuning in again, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.